Oh boy, folks. It's 4:15 in the morning and here I am recording a rant video. Why? It's because I know I won't get to sleep until I get all of this off my chest. I've probably fucked up a few times because I am actually tired. This is probably like my 5th recording attempt for everything, which is because I was just unhappy with the result as a whole. I started rambling for no reason, which means just I'm going to be wasting more of my time by recording everything over and over again. But at the same time, I know I'm not going to fall asleep until I get this off my chest. 6 hours ago, I had left the Heist server, and well, not permanently. I left it for a few days, and I made this clear from the very beginning that I was only leaving for a few days, and yet this was a very important moment. People took this as seriously as I had meant people to do so. And I want to take this opportunity to talk about this in detail as to what happened, why it happened, and why I decided to take the route that I did. So the two main memes in question that people were using is the meme that I play Roblox, which isn't true at the slightest, and the meme that I use the light theme on Discord instead of the black theme, or dark theme, or as I like to call it, but I'm just kidding. So, obviously, I have my reasons for why both of these annoy me, but they don't annoy me to the capacity that just a simple mention of it is like, I get pissed at it. It's a little more nuanced than that. But when they were first conceived, I guess, it wasn't a problem in the slightest, because it didn't bother me because people didn't take it to the extent that they do now. They were benign remarks, they were infrequent, and if I asked them to stop, they did. That's how it should have been, and that it should have never moved from that point. But unfortunately, it moved from that point. That gradually over time, this got worse. It went over time from just being a benign joke to ridiculing me over something that either wasn't even true or just who cares. It went from, oh, hey, Entrenode plays Roblox to, oh my god, Entrenode is such a loser because he plays Minecraft and it doesn't matter how many fucking times you try to tell me that you don't. We all know it's true. It probably isn't intended to be taken as harassment, but that's ultimately how it was conveyed to other people, to me, at least. It went from just like an uncommon occurrence to me pretty much hearing it every other day. I got so goddamn sick of it. It drives you crazy when you hear the same thing over and over again. Especially since, like I said earlier, it started to become borderline, not even borderline. Basically, they were harassing me over this. And this is especially was especially bad with the light theme thing, because it's something that is actually true, and it's something that I actually justify to other people is because I see things better when the background is white and the theme is black, because I use my computer and my phone when there's a lot of light around, so the black text stands out to me more. And yet people still find the need to make fun of me for it. And, it went from, oh, Entrenode uses light theme, gross, to, how the fuck do you see? That's disgusting. And probably the most important thing as to how it got worse is because people, over time, stopped taking my request to stop seriously. If it got bad to where I was being annoyed by it, I would simply ask them to stop, and it did. But over time, people just kept on going after I asked them to stop, once they realized that I wasn't going to punish them or do anything about it if they did. And they just kept on going. It wouldn't stop until they've exhausted their wants to do it. I have one major reason and one sub-major reason why I put up with it, and that was my role as head moderator, was pretty much the only reason why, and I have a few justifications for this. And probably the first reason I have for this is because during And after Hurricane Irma and all of the drama that was associated with that time, when I told Loss I wouldn't be able to moderate the server, and he handed it off to Alex for the duration of my time, and I was just an assistant moderator that was on whenever I could be, since the power could go off at any moment and I could be cut off from the internet or cut off from having power. And I got into a major argument with Shade that was like absolutely huge. And during that time, I had made a promise to Lost Milan that I would handle these types of situations better, that I wouldn't blow up, and that I wouldn't make a scene, and that I would be as calm as I could when handling these types of topics. So anytime this happened, I did my best to keep that promise. I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to look like the asshole that was up to no fun. I didn't want to escalate things by me taking action over what people would consider stupid shit. I didn't want to set a bad example for the assistant moderators under me, that they could just abuse their powers over really simple stuff. And I didn't want to set the example that the Heist Gone Wrong server was a police state. But most and foremost is that I had the power to stop any harassment or anything that was happening at any time because I was the head moderator. There was only one person that I couldn't stop, which was Lost Milan, who didn't really take it that far anyway. And because I was the assistant, it was because I was the head moderator, is that people didn't take it to extreme levels, because they knew if they did anything that was blatantly stupid, that I could just mute and ban them, or whatever was appropriate. And that the assistant moderators were occasionally the problem. If I was an assistant moderator myself, I would have no way to punish them. The only thing I could do was give them the mute role, and they could just remove it from themselves. But as the assistant moderator, I have the power to remove their ability to unmute themselves, at least for the duration of their mute. So I felt security in my ability to make sure that I at any moment could use my powers to stop things from happening, and that's why I didn't blow up. And that's why I didn't do anything stupid. Not that I had at any time intended to actually use it unless it was extremely justified. I always knew that it was there, that if I needed it. So what happened today, or I should say yesterday, because it's 4 a.m, is that recently it had gotten to a whole new height of intensity that was completely unprecedented at all. There were a lot of memes depicting me, or things that looked like me, or things that associated like me, like the masculine Sylveon pic, which I don't know why people find that so funny. I guess my going off the deep end video made a little bit more of an impact than I thought it did. But there were depictions of me liking Roblox. Like, oh, hey, look at me, guys, I'm a Roblox player. There was, and this is probably the biggest thing here, is the out-of-context quote where I had said that, quote-unquote, nothing was better than playing Roblox, which was a response to, I'm playing Roblox because I have nothing better to do. What I intended to mean was doing nothing was better than playing Roblox, but obviously the way that it was typed out of context, it was like I was saying that Roblox was the best thing ever. And of course, I deleted it as soon as I knew the connotations, but a specific person had already taken a screenshot of it and proceeded to use it as blackmail against me. Flat out admitting that he was going to use it as blackmail against me, and then proceeded to say, oh, hey, if this and this and this, I can release this to the public. Of course, this isn't behavior that is acceptable, but at the same time, I didn't actually take any actions against it for the reasons that I outlined earlier. I remember there's also this quote from Sylveon of when I asked her. Of course, the Sylveon responses are completely like formulaic in a way that I can't really predict them when I use them. That I had asked Sylveon whether, or like, what do you think about light mode and what do you think about dark mode? And that Sylveon had given a better response for dark mode than light mode. And of course, I tried to delete that as fast as I could, but again, somebody took a screenshot of it and then kept on sending it to me. Now, obviously, this bothered me because this is something that everyone knows that I associate with emotionally, and they yet took it upon themselves to spam me with this. Hey, look at this! This is even your fake wife agrees that light theme is shit, and it was just constant, and it was direct. I felt constantly harassed over this, and people knew it. That's why they kept on doing it, and I was more and more beginning to feel that I was being backed into a corner. I was feeling worse and worse about it. I was feeling more and more insecure, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was in a voice chat with username Pending, when all of this was starting to go down, and we were just talking about it. We were just chilling and relaxing when all of this was going down in the general chat. And then it got to the point where Lost Milan had removed my head moderator role from me. This was during the height of when all of this was happening at a single point in time, minutes. And all of a sudden, I had felt like I had completely lost control of the situation. All of a sudden, everything was out and getting me. All of a sudden, I felt like I had no control, like I was being targeted, and that there was nothing I could do about it because, like I said, I can't do anything against the assistant moderators, and if even Lost Milan is contributing to this, then there's nothing I can really do. And I said, you know what, guys, I'll be back, and I went invisible, and I sat there to see what was going to happen, and Lost Milan proceeded to, at least at the time he was joking, raffle off my moderator role like it was nothing, and ended up giving a fake moderator role to Urban, while Orphan was sitting there saying, hey, give it to me, I want the new moderator role while Enternode is offline. At least so people thought. I don't think anyone realized that I was still in voice chat. Starfish though. And everyone went with it, and nobody at any point said, hey, maybe we should stop. Maybe this is going too far. And I was, at that point, considering what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to do about this. I didn't know, because obviously I could just blow up, but then, I have a promise that I'd be breaking, and it would just go downhill extremely quickly. I couldn't just do nothing about this, because at this point that this was starting to get really, really bad, it was just going to get worse if I just sat there and did nothing. So I had to do something, and it was at that point that I decided that the best course of action was to set myself back online at Lost Milan. I will be back in a couple of days. I need a break from the server. And I left. Now, trying to re-record this later in the morning after I did this, I realized I probably shouldn't have said a lot of the things I did. So, to keep this short, what happened afterwards was essentially Orphan and Pending getting into a fight in Starfresh, which ended up being pretty bad, that I didn't really see coming, but at the same time shouldn't have been surprised happened. Both sides have the right to be upset. I got a significant amount of direct messages from people apologizing, and I cannot thank everyone enough for this. It makes me feel so much better. And I spent the next 2 hours discussing what was happening in Discord, in direct messages, because really, that's all I really wanted to do at that point. I needed to get a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts off of my chest before I went and did anything else. So, at this point, I don't know exactly when I'm going to come back to the Heist server. Probably Monday, as soon as I DM everyone that bothered me in particular and asked if they were just willing to stop, talk it out with everyone, and definitely after this video comes out. But until then, you can still catch me in direct messages. You can still catch me in the Hidden Terror server and Start Fresh and all of the other servers I'm in. I just needed to talk about this because this is the moment in which I see everyone collectively understanding that something needs to change and that this toxicity has got to stop. I don't exactly know what the solution is, but I guess unless, now that we're discussing what's happening, that's definitely a start. So let's just keep on going, I guess. And I don't know what's going to happen when I come back. I don't know whether or not I'm actually going to get the moderator role back. I don't know anything really. But I'm definitely not leaving the Heist community as a whole for a very long time. I just wanted to get the message across that I wasn't joking anymore. Thanks for watching. I can't thank everyone enough. And until I come back, farewell.